When my boss called me and said the next car I get to review is an AMG, I said, OMG, is it going to be the GT supercar or the bonkers A45S hyperhatch? Maybe the brutish C63? Well, it turns out it was none of those things because I'm sat in the all-new Mercedes-AMG GLA 45S. And I know what you're thinking. Really? A performance small SUV? But I'm here to tell you that this car has the punch to knock out some proper sports cars and backs it up with practicality and poise. In fact, I think it's a better buy than the A45 or the CLA 45, and I'm here to tell you why. But before we begin, we've actually split this video up into several chapters. So if you're in a hurry, you can use the time codes found here to skip ahead to any section you want to hear about first. And if you're on YouTube, it's even easier because you can just use the timeline down below to scrub forward. But before you go skipping ahead, be sure to check out carsguide.com.au for the full in-depth review of this Mercedes-AMG GLA 45S. And if you're still unsure that this model is right for you, we've reviewed hundreds of other models for you to check out. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and that bell notification icon to stay ahead of all our latest videos. Sitting atop the second generation GLA range, this GLA 45S is not only the most expensive Mercedes small SUV you can buy, it's also the priciest car in its class. It wears a recommended retail price of about $107,000, and that's before on-road costs, which makes it about $15,000, or a Kia Picanto, more expensive than the model it replaces.
Of course, the GLA is also available in other grades at lower prices, as seen here. And for those that want to save a bit of extra money but still want that AMG badge, there is always the option of the GLA 35, available from just under $83,000.
We'll be focusing on the top spec GLA 45S for this review though. But if you want full pricing and specs for the entire GLA range, you can head to the CarsGuide website. For the price that you're paying, you'd expect a long equipment list, and Mercedes doesn't disappoint in this regard. Highlights include an automatic tailgate, keyless entry, push-button start, wireless smartphone charger, illuminated door sills, electronically adjustable front seats with heating, LED headlights, and a panoramic glass sunroof. But at this price, you're also paying for a kick-ass engine with prodigious performance. More on that soon. As with many of Mercedes' new models, the GLA 45S makes use of the Mercedes-Benz User Experience multimedia system, which is outputted across a 10.25-inch touchscreen. Functions on this system include satellite navigation, digital radio, and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. And users have many input options too, from this large touchpad down here with haptic feedback, to the touch screen, to these capacitive touch buttons on the steering wheel. But our favourite way to interact with the system is through voice. Hey Mercedes.
How can I help?
Take me to the nearest KFC. Being an AMG, the GLA 45S also picks up a unique steering wheel with yellow contrast stitching, leather interior and snazzy sports seats. It also features unique AMG settings in the multimedia system, allowing you to, for example, input a racetrack and keep tabs on your lap times. Multiple drive modes are also available, allowing the car to switch between comfort and sporty characteristics. Our test car also came fitted with the optional innovation package, bundling a head-up display and this excellent augmented reality overlay that shows streets in real time. Do you want to know how you can tell this is an AMG? This grille here, which Mercedes calls the Panamericana front grille, and it actually harkens back to the 1952 300 SL. The front bumper has also been reworked with larger intakes to better feed cold air into the engine. And our car also comes optional with these front flex and that massive rear wing for an even racier look. In profile, you notice the door, mirror caps and roof rails are finished in black, while 20-inch wheels come standard to fill the arches. Now coming around to the rear, if the AMG and GLA 45S badges aren't enough to give away this car's sporting intent, the quad exhaust tips and rear diffuser will be sure to give any tailgaters pause. Now if you think this car looks a bit like a jacked up hot hatch, you aren't too far off the money. And we think Mercedes has done a great job at translating the aggressiveness of the A45 into a small SUV shape. Option this car without the aerodynamics package, and you might even call it a bit of a sleeper, and it's certainly more subdued in styling than its Audi RS-Q3 rival. Anyone who's sat inside a recent small Mercedes will feel right at home in the GLA 45S. And that's because it shares much of the interior with the A-Class, the CLA and the GLB. Now, as mentioned before, multimedia duties are handled by this 10.25-inch screen, but there are also some tactile and clicky buttons down here for climate controls. But key to the interior is this all-digital instrument cluster, which is also laid out on another high-definition 10.25-inch display. If it's a bit of information overload, don't worry, you can tweak and customize the instrumentation to show exactly what sort of data you want to see, and leave the rest of it buried in a menu. The system can also be configured to show unique AMG readouts such as engine oil temperature and torque outputs, which can all be switched up on the fly.
The new generation GLA 45S has actually grown in every dimension over its predecessor.
What's all this translate to in real-world use? Up front, there's plenty of room for passengers, and these electronically adjustable front seats offer enough maneuverability to get into the right position. Storage options include a generous door pocket that will accommodate a large water bottle, this deep center storage bin, as well as 2 cup holders and a dedicated wireless smartphone tray to keep your keys from scratching your mobile. Being a small SUV, there's plenty of room back here for passengers, including generous head, shoulder, and legroom, even with the front seat adjusted to my 6-foot-tall frame. What you do get back here, you got a door pocket, you got some air vents and a single USB Type-C port to keep passengers happy on long road trips. But not much else. There's no fold-down center armrest or cup holders to speak of. And it's here where the GLA 45 starts to really stand apart from the A45. The boot, it's going to swallow 435 litres, and if you fold the rear seats down, that expands to 1,430 litres, or about 15% bigger than the A45. The load lip is higher as well, making it a bit easier to load and unload your groceries. A downside of the GLA's tech-focused interior though, is that all the USB ports are now USB Type-C, meaning you'll likely have to carry around an adapter to use your old cables, but Mercedes is generous enough to include one with the car. At the time of filming, the new generation GLA, including the GLA 45S, has yet to be crash tested by ANCAP or Euro NCAP. However, standard safety equipment extends to autonomous emergency braking, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, traffic sign recognition, adaptive cruise control, and a surround view monitor. The GLA also has 9 airbags littered throughout the cabin, as well as an active bonnet and driver attention alert. Now, if you've watched this far and you've thought, none of that really justifies the $100,000 price tag, well, let me introduce you to this, the engine. Under the bonnet, you'll see a 2-litre turbo petrol engine, which is pretty standard for performance cars these days. But this one makes 310 kilowatts and 500 newton meters, making it the world's most powerful production 2-litre. Not bad for a car that will ferry the kids to school and fit a week's worth of groceries in the back. The engine is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission, which sends drive to all 4 wheels via Mercedes' 4MATIC system. What's all this mean? The GLA 45S will accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a frighteningly quick 4.3 seconds and carry on to an electronically limited top speed of 265 kilometers an hour. To be fair, the GLA 45S is 0.4 seconds slower to 100 kilometers an hour than its A45S sibling, but out there in the real world, are you really going to notice? And the GLA 45S will do all of that and return an official fuel economy figure of just 9.6 litres per 100 Ks, thanks in part to the engine start-stop system. Now, after a few days of testing, we managed about 11.2 litres per 100 kilometres, but no doubt those with lighter feet will get closer to the official figures. Like all new Mercedes-Benz models, the GLA 45S comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty with 5 years of roadside assist, the benchmark in the premium car space. Service intervals are every 12 months or 20,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first, and the first 5 services are available to purchase as a bundle for $4,300, meaning the new car is actually cheaper to maintain than the old GLA 45. Let's start with the engine, and what a fantastic engine it is. Can you believe AMG has squeezed this much power and torque out of a tiny 2-litre? It's absolutely mental, and we love it. Backing up the engine is an 8-speed automatic transmission, which manages to shift smoothly up or down, but drivers can also opt for the paddles behind the wheel. Suspension, you've got 3 different settings: Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus, with the softest setting designed to absorb bumps around town, and the hardest setting for when things get adventurous. Sure, the GLA 45S is never going to corner as fast or as hard as an A45S, thanks to the increased ride height and extra weight. But these are the things that actually help it out a little bit when things slow down. A performance SUV might be a bit of an oxymoron, but this car will keep up with any hot hatch on the market without any of the comfort or packaging related compromises. I'm betting if you walked into a showroom right now and had to pick between a hatchback and an SUV, you'd pick the latter. So why wouldn't you pick a performance SUV over a hot hatch? The Mercedes-AMG GLA 45S is just as quick as the A45 in the real world, but it's more comfortable, has more room on the inside, and a bigger boot. Sure, the price tag is getting up there, and a hot SUV doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but buyers looking to combine space with pace shouldn't overlook this car. And for the full written review and all things automotive, be sure to check out carsguide.com.au.